Hello everyone, welcome again to the Uncle Ricky Radio Show. Now, we do Uncle Ricky Radio shows when we don't want to talk about our other shows, and when we want to talk about human interest stuff. And here's something that's showing up on the radar more and more as time goes on. And it is smart meters. Have you heard about these things? And you know, if you take a poll, if you were to go out today and take a poll on how many people really know a lot about the smart meter, I'll bet not a lot of people know a tremendous amount about what these smart meters are supposed to do, the promises that BC Hydro is making, and the actual truth behind, let's say, the corporate umbrella media circus that these power corporations are giving us. So I stumbled onto, a few months ago, a delightful web page called Citizens for Safe Technology. Take a look at their website. What I'll do is I'll put the link below the show notes here. And I think it's warranted a look because when you take a look at what smart meters are supposedly the benefits, it's real murky. The water is really, really murky, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let me read from their page, Citizens for Safe Technology, a really convincing argument that we should at least stop and think. Just think a little bit. Now look, there are extremes on each side of the fence. BC Hydro is going to defend their position to the nth degree because guess what? They're a company. They're in business to make a profit. So anytime you affect profits, you are violating their first tenets of business. To be in business is to make a profit. And on the other end of the spectrum, you have some people, Citizens for the Safe Technology. Now, are they extremists? Are they wackos? Are they way out there? I don't think so. The more I look at this group, all I see are concerned citizens that are begging for the truth. So with your permission, I'll read from you their little bit of a front page from Citizens from Safe Technology. And it does make a point. It is the plan of power and energy authorities worldwide to replace current disc-style analog hydro, gas, and water meters with digital smart meters. These are wireless devices that use radio frequency waves to monitor, use, and transmit information about each household's consumption. They are being enthusiastically promoted by governments and industry as a green initiative. You can always hide behind a green initiative somehow if you market it correctly. Isn't that true? Supposedly enabling utility companies to efficiently monitor consumption during peak and down times and encourage wise use of energy and resources. The vision is that these smart meters will operate within a wider ranging smart grid. That means they will beacon each other. The information carrying radio waves transmit 24 hours, 7 days a week, will effectively blanket homes and neighborhoods with radiation that could adversely affect not just humans, but all living systems. In particular, these meters have the potential to affect not only electro-hypersensitive persons, but children and pregnant women, persons with medical conditions such as heart arrhythmia, those with compromised immune systems, and others who rely on medical and or metal implants or equipment. In addition to health concerns, smart meters bring with them questions about fire and security hazards. The cost of installing the new digital wireless meters is substantial, their accuracy is debatable, and there is much controversy as to whether or not the readings serve to decrease power use or simply increase power cost to consumers. Now, we all know what's coming. BC Hydro is putting these smart grids right ahead of a huge increase. You know that Christy Clark recently quashed it. They wanted, 50% hike over a couple of years? It was absolutely astronomically ridiculous. Okay, government employees who now read the disc-style meters total approximately 3,000 men and women in the province of British Columbia alone. Digital smart meters effectively eliminate these jobs as well. Now, okay, so that's their side of the story. So let's take another look at the side of the story from both points of view. BC Hydro Did they consult you, BC Hydro, on these smart meters? Did they send out a letter? Did they put it in a public forum? Did they put it on a debate somehow? Did they say the pros and cons? Were they completely honest on their website? Did they give you the information so we could collectively make an educated decision on whether we want these things in our homes, or did they lock it up tight? Maybe it was done on a golf course. Maybe the deal was done between BC Hydro and Corks. Oh, you know what? These smart meters seem like a really good idea. And they're being wonderfully accepted in California, which they are not. And then the deal was done. Now, here's the thing that really bothers me as a citizen of British Columbia. I should have the right that if I'm going to have something attached to my home, they should at least offer another safe alternative. Now, I have heard, and we're going to have to research this, of course, and more shows. I have heard that they can monitor your power consumption through your telephone cable. And if that's true, why isn't that at least one of the alternatives for people who do not want a smart meter? Now, BC Hydro will tell you, well, it only broadcasts several minutes a day. And then you go on the internet and you see some of these people that say it broadcasts 55,000 times per day. Now, BC Hydro might be saying, well, it only broadcasts a couple of minutes per day from your house. But what's going to happen is it's going to have like a spider web effect where one house will talk to the other in a mesh grid. So maybe your house will only transmit. If you were the only smart meter in Canada, probably transmit just a few minutes a day. But think of the thousands and hundreds of thousands of smart meters that are out there that are going to start transmitting. And by the way, these signals can go up to 2 miles. Now here's something interesting that was brought to my attention. I don't know if you were aware, but there was a whole bunch of people that got together, and I believe it was Maple Ridge, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was in Maple Ridge where the parents were very, very concerned about Wi-Fi in the schools. And they went to the school board, and if I recall the story correctly, they went to the schools and said, we don't want Wi-Fi with our kids anymore because we think it's a health hazard. And the schools said, okay, we will go to wired. So they won a successful battle, and it was really, really important to these folks. Take this same group of people that won that battle, these parents, and they are going to get a smart meter outside their home. They're in the exact same boat as they were with the school. It's Wi-Fi. So I'm a little bit concerned about, I think what should happen is we should all cool our heels, but we should do something that's very, very important. The other day I was listening to a talk show radio program, and it was actually a minister of a church they were interviewing. And they were talking to him, and the subject came out about politicians. Now, he lives in California, or somewhere down there in the United States. Somewhere close to California, I believe. And he said, politicians will promise the world just to get elected. And then after they're elected, all of, or most of their promises get dissolved, and they say, well, we couldn't foresee this, and we couldn't foresee this, when they knew that they couldn't do certain things. He said two very powerful words that I think got to the real heart of the matter. And his 2 words were this, to politicians. He said, stop lying. Now that's a pretty extremist way to go. But on this podcast show, I would say, stop withholding the truth. Recently, the World Health Organization came out and said that Wi-Fi is a possible carcinogen. They put it in writing, and it's a done deal. It's out there now. It's in the wild. It's on the internet. You cannot disbelieve that. It is a fact. They came out. On BC Hydro's site, BC Hydro right there said, the World Health Organization has deemed it safe. No. You see, that's misinformation in my mind. What they should do is they should put the updated information on the BC Hydro website that says the World Health Organization has now declared or now suggested that Wi-Fi may be a possible carcinogen. Now, I phoned up BC Hydro the other day, and I didn't want the smart meter, and I said, I don't want a smart meter. And they directed me over to Quarks, and she kept asking me, well, what's the reason? What's the reason? What's the reason? And I said, do you legally have to have a reason, a legal reason for me not to have the smart meter? And she asked about 8 times. She wasn't going to give up. She was persistent. She was obviously reading from a script. And I said, okay, here it is. The World Health Organization has determined that Wi-Fi signals may be a possible carcinogen. She said, a what? How do you spell that? Carcinogen? Well, right there. It kind of suggests to you the kind of people we're dealing with when we come up upon a conversation like this. This is really, really important. And I think we need to stop and get people to not, and I'm not going to say the BC Hydro is lying. Hear me clearly. But I am suggesting that they put updated information on their website. There's a difference between lying and withholding the truth. You can always hide under a shroud of, well, I withheld a little bit of the truth. Well, remember, a fib is part of a lie, isn't it? If you knowingly withhold information about something, what is it? Is it the truth or is it the lie? Is there a gray area? Well, a fib is okay. Not when you're going to decide something this important. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would suggest that you go over to the good folks at Citizens for Safe Technology. Do a Google search or just put in www.Citizens for Safe Technology and see what they have to say. I think once you read all of their information and all the scientists and all the really good documentation that they have in this particular area, you're going to start to think, you know what? Why weren't we consulted? Why wasn't anybody consulted? Have you heard about what the smart meters are going to do? The pros and the cons? You go to some websites, nothing but pros. Go to some websites, nothing but cons. But we need to establish, even if we had a completely balanced opinion of this thing, I think the opinion would be, stop what you're doing with the smart meters, give us a couple of alternatives, we need to study this more, because people are getting concerned. And when people get concerned, let me tell you this. Have you ever tried to stop a group of people, ordinary citizens, that knew or felt in their heart that they were absolutely right? I'll tell you what, it's going to be an interesting ride for the next few months between BC Hydro and the good folks over at Citizens for Safe Technology. So go over there and take a look. And if you have any feedback or any suggestions or anything at all that you want to contribute to the show, you can email us at unclerickyradio@gmail.com. Thanks so much, folks, for joining us on the show. Thought I would give you this little tidbit because it's very, very important, and I think it warrants a look-see. Till next time, see you later. Rick Haaland saying bye-bye.